بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين. We still have 3 steps when we are constructing our scorecard. We talk about having the categories, having the weights, having the subcategories and the subweights. We have the scoring system. Number 5, we go for the calculations, the assessment, the evaluation. So here we have the evaluation, or we have the calculations. It means we do the dividing and the multiplying. Divide the real score by the total score, 4 out of 5, so 4 divided by 5, multiplied by the weight. It could be 7, could be 5, could be 8, whatever. And step number 6, here we have reviewing the results that is given in the scorecards. We want to make sure all the numbers are written, all the calculations are okay, so we are reviewing the work. And making the selection. Reviewing and making the selection for the supplier. I'm phone calling the supplier, you got the contract, congratulations, or we can send him an email, or send him a fax, or send him, or sending a letter, or giving him the time to sign our contract. And finally, step number 7, that reviewing and assessing the performance. So we have here reviewing the performance of the supplier. Yes, reviewing the performance of the supplier to make sure that our selection was good enough and we are not sacrificing other suitable suppliers. We got the good supplier. We are happy to have him as a partner for our work. These 3 remaining steps, they are very important, and this is the work that goes to the top management and the committees to finalize the work for the stage that they started very early. Let's see the details in the book. Step number 5, evaluating supplier directly. Yes. We need to have the suppliers to be evaluated. And in the field, we go to some significant work. We want to make the analysis, searching for the results, making better understanding for the organization's abilities, consider what the suppliers can provide us with data, and viewing the standards and these capabilities of the suppliers from our viewing their papers, their places, their performance. When we are having the members inside our committee, their knowledge, their experience, their abilities is reflected or are reflected in the field work. And these numbers given for the suppliers could be simply calculated to reflect the final ability of each supplier. For example, going to the quality standard issue, here again we have the quality criteria divided by 3 subcategories. We have the scores 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5, and 5 out of 5. How we do the calculations? Simply 4 divided by 5, it's 0.8. Multiplied by 5, so it's 4. Again, question number 2, regarding the quality systems, we have 4, the score given is 4 out of 5, so 4 divided by 5, which is 0.8. Multiplied by 8, so it's 6.4. a third time to say it. Score given is 5 out of 5. So 5 divided by 5, it's 1. Multiplied by 7, which is the weight, give us 7. To continue, we need to add all together these numbers, which lead us to this number, 17.4. 17.4. This is the total mark of the supplier regarding the quality systems issue or criteria. So again, it's written here in the book. You have 4 divided by 5 multiplied by the weight, which is 5. 4 divided by 5 multiplied by the weight, which is 8. And 4 divided by 5 divided by 5 multiplied by 7. So it's we have 7. And finally, we have them all together added to have this final score, which is out of 20 points. So the total score for this supplier is 80.6 regarding what we say is the quality standards. So we have known the ability of the suppliers regarding the quality issues. You can go along with the table to continue with other issues, such as the performance of the management, the systems, the cost performance, whatever we have as criteria given here, which is accepted or not accepted, is weak, is good enough, satisfying or not satisfying. So we have multiple issues to be worked with. Going to step number 6, this one talks about reviewing the evaluation results that we made in this table or this form, which is the scorecard, and simply make the selection or take the decision. Here we can say that when we have everything is registered, we can have a perfect point of view of assessing the abilities of these different suppliers and to see their performance on papers. We need to make sure that these numbers and these ideas are accepted or sometimes rejected from the point of view of the management. They are giving us some indicators, some directions, discussing the ideas in the meetings to see that the degrees given to the problems or the question we're asked are really reflecting their abilities. Because we want to have a realistic point of view of the field work, of the calculations that matches the experience of the and the knowledge of the management regarding these suppliers. We want to find if there are deficiencies, how we can correct them. If we have misleading information, we need also to assess them and correct them. We need to have their piece of knowledge reflecting their abilities is really reflecting the reliability and the efficiency of these suppliers. So usually the supplier scorecard give us a very important, useful information for the supplier assessment or evaluation. But still, there are some issues to be considered by the top management and the committee that do this assessment of the supplier's ability. We need to assess, first of all, relative size. Sometimes if we have 2 organizations or 3 organizations, 3 suppliers, are having some numbers in their scorecard close to each other. So which one to select? Sometimes we prefer large organizations. Even they have little bit lower score than the others. It means we have 3 organizations, nearly one of them has 80%, the other one has 78, and the third one have 76. We could select the 76 or 78, not the 80 scores. Why? Because it is larger than the others. Larger, and we want to think about stability, performance stability of these organizations or suppliers. We want to feel that we are making realistic selection. And the continuing performance of the big organizations give us relaxation in our decision. Another criteria to be considered, other than the scorecard, or to be added to the scorecard, it's the use of global suppliers. Sometimes the decision is switch to some global sourcing suppliers, and they have little bit lower scores than other domestic suppliers, because our decisions or our board of directors are guiding us to purchase from global suppliers, or could be vice versa. We would like to rely heavily on our domestic market, so we have an international supplier has the highest score, but we want to give the orders for people or for organizations working internally in our market. A third one talks about competitors as suppliers. Sometimes we are excluding some of the highest score suppliers because they could be competitor to us, or some way of having not relaxed with some certain suppliers. We feel risk sometimes when we are dealing with some certain suppliers. They could compete us in the future. They can give some information that we share with them to other competitors. So we are not feeling peace when we are dealing or building relationship with some certain suppliers. Another factor should be considered, the counter trade requirements. We sometimes use the scorecards to guide us with the best suppliers, but usually if among the top, the highest 3 or 4 or 5 suppliers, we could select the third one or the fourth one because of some certain issue, which is the exchange of materials rather than exchanging money for materials. What we say is the counter trade, al-muqayada. Yes, maybe I'm asking the supplier to give us some raw materials, and in exchange of this purchasing, we give him some part of our final production. So this is, for us, is a suitable decision, rather than giving pressure on our cash, to pay in cash all our purchases. And finally, we should consider the social objectives. Yes, sometimes we are giving our decisions for selecting the suppliers regarding the social abilities, the social work, the environmental friendly products, organizations that accepting the social responsibility, or they are sharing or feeling the social responsibility much than other suppliers in the environment. They do good work, they help poor people, they do some projects for free, they give some donations for the other organizations. So the social objectives or the environmental objectives are reflected here with the highest scores or suppliers. So it's a well-designed scorecard and a well point of view of this objective information can guide the best selection and the final selection of the board of directors and the committee, the head of the committee. And we taking the decision and giving the authority for the people to contact the suppliers to tell them that they got the contract with us. Stage number 7, finally, we are reviewing and improving supply performance. When all relevant information we are considering regarding the suppliers, regarding these stages, the previous 6 steps are okay, and we give it the orders to be fulfilled by the suppliers, we still gathering data, assessing the information, feeling the responsibility to continue working with the suppliers and to make sure that his performance is according to his realistic information that were given to the committee. And we need to know all the time this good relation and this performance to be registered in our database. At this stage, we finalize the scorecard. The scorecard, if you would like to have more information about this issue, you can go through the internet, searching for the word balance scorecard, or evaluation scorecard, or supplier scorecard, or performance scorecard, or employee scorecard, or entrepreneurship scorecard. So the secret word here is scorecard. Simply, it's cards having categories and having scores, and giving you some indicator to tell you that this is a good and this is a not. This is an opportunity, and this is a mistake. Think deeply about having these tools to be more able to take the right decisions. So what we say here, we are giving the managers, the people who would like to take decisions, we give them tools to be able to take the good choice and to be responsible for their decisions. Thank you very much, and goodbye.